All right, let's talk about Rolf Fink's The 7 League Boots. Now, this isn't just a book, it's this incredibly simple guide, almost like a series of invitations to help you live a richer, more connected life. We're going to jump right into the first couple of steps, which are honestly the foundation for everything else.
And just look at this. The book is filled with these charming illustrations that really capture its whole vibe. It's all about starting this journey, a journey into a more mindful, more connected way of living.
So let me ask you this. Do you ever feel like you're just on autopilot? Just kind of going through the motions, totally disconnected from your own senses? It's a super common feeling, right? We're always rushing and we miss so much of what's right in front of us. But what if I told you there are some really simple ways to reconnect? Not just with the world, but with each other. Well, this book says there absolutely are.
So what I think is so great about the author, Rolf Fink, is his whole approach. He doesn't frame these as, homework or some dry, boring exercises you have to do. No, it's something way more personal, way more gentle than that.
He calls them invitations to discoveries. I mean, how cool is that? It completely reframes it, right? This isn't about adding another chore to your never-ending to-do list. It's about just accepting these 7 invitations to see your life, your relationships, and yeah, the whole world in a totally new light.
All right, so let's jump into the very first invitation. This one is all about a skill that sounds simple, but is actually pretty profound, learning to see what's really there.
And the famous Yogi Berra quote, "You can see a lot by observing"? It sounds almost too simple, doesn't it? But that's exactly it. That's the heart of this first step. Just observe. Take in the world before you slap a label on it, before you filter it through all your opinions and judgments.
So here's the real goal. Observe without judging. The challenge is to separate what you see from what you think about what you see. Try to be like a camera or maybe a painter sketching a scene. You're just capturing what's there. The forms, the colors, the sounds, before your brain jumps in and goes, "Oh, that's good," or "Ugh, I don't like that."
And hey, here's a super simple way you can try this right now. Just grab a piece of fruit. First step, just look at it. Really see the colors, the little imperfections, how the light hits it. Step 2, touch it. What's the texture like? How much does it weigh in your hand? 3, smell it. What does it smell like? And finally, taste it, but slowly. Try to experience every single flavor. See, you're just perceiving, engaging all your senses one by one.
Now, if you actually try that, you'll probably notice how hard it is to shut off that little voice in your head, right? That inner commentator. But that struggle, that's the whole point. This practice, learning to separate what is from what you think about it, is a huge first step toward a more mindful life.
Okay, so you might be thinking, that's a nice little exercise, but what's the big deal? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. The book shows how this internal shift, learning to just see what's there, has a massive impact on our external world, especially when it comes to those really difficult conversations.
So to show us why this matters so much, Fink tells this story about a couple. And you can probably picture this. Their life was just this constant string of arguments about tiny little things. The dishes, being late, whatever. They were just totally stuck in this exhausting cycle of conflict.
But here's the thing. The book points out that their real problem had nothing to do with the dishes. It was a total breakdown in communication. They literally couldn't talk about the important stuff anymore. They had lost that ability, so they just argued about the small stuff instead.
So what's the solution? How do you break that cycle? Well, the book's next invitation is basically a toolkit for exactly this. It's designed to help us navigate those tough talks and move from just hearing words to actually understanding what the other person is saying.
And the first tool in the kit is something called an I message. It's a really simple but powerful shift in how you talk. Instead of pointing fingers and making accusations, you speak from your own perspective. You talk about your feelings and your experience.
And check out this comparison. It makes it so clear. Instead of a you message like, "You always interrupt me," which is basically an attack, right? It just makes the other person get defensive. You switch to an I message. "I feel unheard when I can't finish my thought." See the difference? One starts a fight, the other one is just an honest expression that invites empathy.
Of course, it takes 2 to tango. Communication is a two-way street, and I think this cartoon just nails it. If the other person isn't even willing to listen, well, the conversation's dead on arrival, no matter how great your I messages are.
So the book breaks down why understanding is so tricky. It shows that there are these gaps in the process. It all starts when something is said.
But just because you said it doesn't mean it was actually heard, right?
The other person could be a million miles away or just waiting for you to take a breath so they can jump in.
Okay, but let's say they did hear the words. That still doesn't mean they understood what you meant. We all interpret things through our own unique filters, our own past experiences.
And then there's the last step, and this one is huge. Even if they totally 100% understand where you're coming from, that doesn't mean they have to agree with you. And that's okay. Real communication means respecting that difference.
So how do we actually bridge all those gaps? The book lays out 4 really practical keys. Number 1, your first job is to understand them before you try to make them understand you. Number 2, use those I messages we talked about. 3, if you're confused, just ask. Ask questions. And number 4, a really great trick is to just rephrase what you heard. Say, so what I'm hearing is, it's a simple way to make sure you're both on the same page.
And here's the big aha moment. You see how it all connects? That first skill, just observing the world without judgment, is the exact same skill you need to listen to someone with real empathy. It's what allows you to speak your own truth clearly, without all the baggage of accusation.
You know, these first 2 invitations, seeing clearly and communicating with intention, they're really just the beginning of the journey. But they build this incredible foundation for a deeper connection, both with yourself and with the people you care about. And like the author says, his real wish is that you just find a lot of joy in making these little discoveries.
So that's the thought I want to leave you with. As you go about the rest of your day, just think about this. What's one conversation you could have, big or small, that might totally change if you went into it just trying to listen and understand first? Give it a shot and see what you discover.